Today we're going to be learning about metaphors. So I'm going to read this book from Epic to you. What is a metaphor? Have you ever been called a chicken? You don't have feathers or make clucking sounds, do you? But maybe you get scared sometimes. A chicken gets scared sometimes too. It is afraid it will be made into stew. You and a chicken can both get scared, so you have something in common. If someone calls you a chicken, he or she is using a metaphor. A metaphor is a figure of speech that compares two unlike things. It describes something by showing how it is the same as something else. The two things are different in most ways, but they share an important characteristic. A characteristic is a feature or quality that identifies a person or thing. Figurative or literal. We use two types of language when we speak and write. We use literal language to describe something that as they really are. We say our teacher is strict. He gives us extra homework if we misbehave. These sentences state facts which are true. The teacher really is strict. He really does give extra homework for bad behavior. We use figurative language. This is a type of language takes words beyond normal, literal meanings. We say, our teacher is a tyrant. He gives us a mountain of extra homework if we misbehave. Teacher is not actually a tyrant. A tyrant is a harsh or cruel ruler. But tyrants and teachers both make people follow the rules, and a teacher does assign extra homework for bad behavior, but isn't actually piled as high as a mountain. Is it really a metaphor? We use metaphors to paint pictures with words. Metaphors let writers describe things in a creative way. They help readers imagine characters and settings. Characters are the people in the story. The setting is where the story takes place. Metaphor and poems. Have you ever met a metaphor? You will often meet them in poems. Most poems are short. They tell a story in just a few lines. Metaphors let poets paint pictures with few words. They also help poets set the mood of the poems. Read the passage below. Is at the beginning of the poem about a thief on a horseback called the highwayman who robbed travelers on the road in olden times. Notice how the poem makes you feel, even if you don't understand all the words. The highwayman. The wind was a torrent of darkness among the gusty trees. The moon was a ghostly galleon, tossed up upon cloudy seas. The road was a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor. And the highwayman came riding. The highwayman came riding up to the old inn door. Excerpt from The Highwayman by Alfred Noyes. Many metaphors rely on the five senses. They make comparisons based on how things look, smell, sound, taste, or feel. How might readers rely on their five senses to make sense of the highwayman? The poet uses a wagon load of metaphors in The Highwayman. First, he compares the wind to a torrent of darkness among the gusty trees. The word torrent means violent stream of liquid. Gusty means windy. It makes us imagine the wind as a black river rushing through the forest. Right away, the mood of the poem feels spooky. It is a dark and windy night as a storm. Is a storm literal or figurative? Next, the poet compares the moon to a ghostly galleon tossed upon cloudy seas. Galleon was a big sailing ship used in the olden days for war and trade. Comparing the moon to a ghostly ship in the sky being tossed around by the wind in a sea of clouds adds to the scary mood of the poem. The next metaphor compares the road to a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor. A moor is an area of open land where nothing but rough grasses grow. It makes us picture a narrow road winding over a deserted stretch of land. But the moon is shining overhead, so the road is lit up and shines brightly in the darkness. This suggests hope for the highwayman, despite the gloomy mood and setting of the poem. Metaphors and songs. You hear metaphors all around you. They may even be in your favorite songs. Some songs like You Are My Sunshine or You're a Firework. Others tell you love is a battlefield or life is a highway. Listen carefully and you'll hear musical metaphors everywhere.